In this video, you'll learn 4 factors that are shaping Generation Z and impacting the future workplace. In the same way that generational knowledge helps marketers to sell to specific demographics, understanding generations helps companies to lead, engage, and recruit a specific age cohort. Here are 4 major influences that are impacting the future workplace and shaping the post-millennial generation, Generation Z. Number 1, drone parents. You can learn a lot about a generation by looking at the generation of parents that raised them. Generation Z is parented by Generation X. Generation X grew up as latchkey kids, where they exercised independence, a survival mentality, and skepticism towards leaders and institutions that they witnessed rise and fall during their youth. Many of these childhood themes have influenced their parenting. In order to not duplicate the latchkey kid challenges of their childhood, Generation X is more involved with their Generation Z kids. Generation X aren't helicopter parents, but rather are drone parents. They're tracking and monitoring from a distance. They are less likely to rescue their children like helicopter parents. Instead, Generation X has taught their Generation Z kids to take their career into their own hands, that there are clear winners and losers, not everyone gets a trophy, and to be realistic about how much hard work is necessary to be successful. Number 2, receding economy. According to YPulse, 62% of Generation Z doesn't remember a time before the Great Recession. For most of Generation Z, the only memories they have during the formative years consist of companies collapsing, industries shrinking, and people losing their jobs. Because the median net worth of Generation Z's parents fell by nearly 45% during the Great Recession, Generation Z needed little convincing that it was a tough world and that they would have to work harder. In fact, today, 77% of Generation Z expect to work harder than previous generations. Number 3, hyper-connected world. According to Pew Research, only 14% of US adults had access to the internet in 1995. By 2014, that number was 87%. Generation Z grew up during the most accelerated and game-changing periods of technological advancements in human history. More than technology, it's the connection to networks of people and information that has changed everything for Generation Z. YouTube, Kickstarter, and LinkedIn inspired and equipped Generation Z to learn anything, try something, and be someone. Generation Z are contributors, they're doers, they're hackers of work and life. Mobile technology and ubiquitous connectivity have empowered them to have a voice, to streamline and systemize tasks, and to simplify complex problems because to them, there has always been an app for that. And number 4, millennials example. Because millennials have been the most highly scrutinized generation of all time, Generation Z is hyper aware of the strengths they should emulate. Because millennials have been the most highly scrutinized generation of all time, Generation Z is hyper aware of the strengths they should emulate, such as seeking meaningful work, being an entrepreneur, committing to continuous learning, and they're also hyper aware of the pitfalls they should avoid: social media superficiality, lack of interpersonal and communication skills, entitlement, or a lack of work ethic. One of the most glaring shortcomings of millennials is their debt. Millennials' crushing student loan debt has Generation Z seriously considering education alternatives. In fact, 69% of Generation Z are concerned about paying back student loans. Mission U, which is a 1-year college alternative where there's no upfront costs and students pay back 15% of their income for the first 3 years once they graduate and earn at least $50,000. This education alternatives and others could be exactly what Generation Z needs when it comes to education. Thanks for watching. I hope this content was insightful and useful. As a top-ranked Millennial and Generation Z speaker and an Inc.com columnist, I help organizations lead, engage, and sell to the emerging generations, as well as helping them leverage today's workplace trends. If you'd like to have me speak to your organization or at your association, click the link in the description to begin that conversation. Also, if you'd like to learn more strategies and insights like the ones shared in this video, click the link in the description to grab your copy of my latest book, The Millennial Manual, the complete how-to guide to manage, develop, and engage millennials at work. And lastly, click subscribe to ensure you don't miss any future videos. Thanks again, and bye for now.